Microphone check 1 2. It's your boy, the network. Back in the building with another video, another live stream. Today we're gonna be doing Hsrp authentication. What's going on here? Y'all know we got Atticus now in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in, bro. Peace to you as well, man. I'm ready today for y'all, I guess. It's been a while. Well, I ain't gonna say it's been a while since I streamed, but when was the last time we streamed? Probably Wednesday. I skipped yesterday. I was gonna try to stream yesterday, but I was just so tired, man. I don't know why. I don't even know why I was tired. But yeah, today we're gonna be doing Hsrp authentication. If you guys remember, Hsrp stands for Hot Standby Routing Protocol. Is a first hop redundancy protocol. Is a way for us to kind of like allow for a backup router in case our main router goes down. Our main router that takes us out to the internet, right? Or not necessarily the internet, but our first hop, right? So we have the first hop is like, and I'll show y'all. Let me give you an example. This is going to be the topology we're going to be working with, right? So let's say the internet is back here. I guess I should have put it back there somewhere. Let's say the internet is back here, right? We got this ugly looking cloud right here, right? And he's connected to this router right here, right? This is us, right? We're on PC number 1 right here. Our first hop will be this router right here, right? Actually, we've got two. In this case, these are layer 3 switches. So one of these are going to be our first hop, right? When we use Hsrp, we put these two guys in a group called an Hsrp group. They share what's called a VIP or virtual IP address, right? They share that. And then when this guy sends his traffic out there, he only sees one hop. Even though there's two physical routers there, or two physical switches there, he only sees one switch because of the IP address, right? Before he goes out to the internet. Well, what if one of these guys go down, right? What color is that? Let's say this one goes down, right? Now we need to shift our traffic to go this way, right? Well, this computer is obviously dumb. He just knows his IP address was, this guy was .2 and that guy was .3, right? But if he was pointing to .2 the whole time and that one is down, then guess what? He's not gonna be able to send out his traffic. That's why these two guys share an IP address, the virtual IP, which will probably be like say .1 or something like that. And when he sends it to .1, he doesn't know that this one right here went down. He just knows that he has a first hop, and that's what Hsrp allows us to do. Well, we can also set up authentication, which is what we're gonna do today. So if let's say we wanted to add a third router, right? He can't join this group unless he has the Hsrp authentication key, right? We can put this key in plain text, which means it's readable, or we can put it in Md5 and encrypt the password, or put a hash on that password so that way nobody can see it, right? Or obfuscate. What's the word again? Obfuscate the password, right? Let's say we have a fourth router, or let's say we've got a hacker that wants to, let's say he puts in his router, right? And he tries to join this Hsrp group somehow, right? Well, he won't be able to join it unless he has what? The Hsrp authentication key. And that's what we're going to do today, right? I'll give you guys a couple minutes in case you want to follow along and do it along with us. If you have a copy of this application, Boson Netsim, we are using version number version 13.18.029. It'll be version 13. It'll most likely be the same thing. I think they are all the same thing. They just had a couple updates that they did to kind of refresh it or whatever. But anyway, this is the topology we're going to be working with. The same thing as this one, right? We also have, I don't want to pop that out, the instructions. I'm going to put the instructions over to the side so that way there's not too many windows here, right? And we got some of the basic commands right here. Here's some of the commands we're going to be working with. I guess I should bring up Jeremy Stretch's cheat sheets, right? But shout out to Jeremy Stretch at packetlife.net. These are cheat sheets that's been out in the networking field for God knows, for ages, man. Ever since I've been studying for this stuff. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hsrp FFF. We'll start at about, I guess, in 10 minutes into the stream. We got Fushnicken in the building. Last move. Happy to see you back in the lab. Happy to see you as well, man. We got Anders Tech 79 in the building as well. Networking, bro, is in the house. We are in the house because we ain't got nothing to prove. Lost move. Y'all remember that song? Old joint, man. You got to be an old head to kind of know that old stuff, man. Old hip hop. Anyway, so these are the first top redundancy protocols. There's 3 of them, right? Today, obviously, we're doing Hsrp. It's Cisco proprietary, but it now is open source. There's also VRRP, which is also open source, and GLBP, which is Cisco proprietary, and you can only use these strictly on Cisco devices, right? And again, we're gonna be doing a little bit of tracking as well. Tracking is a way to kind of like monitor a specific interface. And let's say we'll say if we want this, if this interface goes down, we want you to shift the traffic over that way or change the priority to something lower, so that way we are, when we come back online, we'll become the active router again, right? We'll explain it as we're going along through the lab, right? And then here's the syntax for setting the password. Remember what I said about authentication, right? We can do it either in plain text or MD5. In this case, he's using MD5 in this example right here. And then you put the password, right? And when you are tracking an object or an interface or whatever, what you're saying is, let's say, let me get this shit out of the way right here. Let's say this interface, let's say we're sending all of our traffic going this way, right? When we are tracking, we can say, hey, if this interface right here goes down, let's change his priority to, like, I don't know, 50 or something like that. That way he becomes the standby router. Remember, we talked about standby and active, right? And then he becomes the active router. So now that means, oh, we know that this interface is down, so we'll try to shift our traffic going this way. But remember, from his vantage point, he only sees one router. He only sees one hop, right? Because he just sees a .1. That's his IP. That's where he's sending his traffic. But in the inner workings of it, behind all of that, there's 2 physical switches there. One of them goes down. He's not going to know about it. This is all transparent to him, right? And that's the point of first hop routing protocols. That's how they work. We got Maddox12 in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in. Yeah, hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty much subscribed. True Fushnik in the building, right? All right, so this ugly clown. Let me get rid of that guy. And I guess we can get started in the lab. Actually, we got a couple more minutes left. I like to start like 10 minutes into the stream, give you guys a brief overview of what we're gonna be working with, right? And if you want a copy of these cheat sheets, go to packetlife.net. A guy named Jeremy Stretch. He's got a whole bunch of these cheat sheets that kind of like, give you the basics of these different topics. A whole bunch of them, man. And like I said, they've been around in the networking field for a good, at least a couple decades, man. I mean, I've been studying stuff since like 2011, and I remember these sheets, man. So packetlife.net, they're pretty cool, man. Ransomware sent North Carolina A&T University scrambling to restore services. Y'all know what I said about cybersecurity, right? Growing field. 9 times out of 10, when I'm reading you these headlines and these current events, it's either a hack, a vulnerability, an exploit, something. So that lets you know, like, cybersecurity is needed. So if you can get into cybersecurity, man, it's a growing field, it's high in demand. There's always like these kind of events that are happening. Alpha V/Black Cat ransomware group has claimed at least 3 victims so far. North Carolina A&T State University, shout out to North Carolina A&T, one of my favorite music groups. Actually, I think they went to school there. One of them, Little Brother. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Little Brother. It was an underground rap group. Anyways, the largest historically black college in the United States, University, was recently struck by a ransomware group called ALPHV, ALPHV, sending university staff into a scramble to restore services last month. Boy, I would hate to be the network engineer to work, or the security engineer to be working that. It's affecting a lot of my classes, especially since I do take a couple of coding classes. My classes have been canceled, Melanie McClellan, an industrial system engineering student, told the school newspaper. The AT&T Register, they have been remote, and I still haven't been able to do my assignments. How ironic is that? One of the computer students can't do their homework, right? The paper said the breach occurred the week of March 7, while students and faculty were on spring break. Systems take, so this is kind of old. I guess this is about 2 months old, 2 months ago, roughly, or about a month ago. About almost 2 months ago. We're on spring break. System were taken down by. I went back in the archives just a couple weeks because I wanted to. Y'all haven't been streaming in a while, so I said let me read a couple old stuff in case you guys haven't heard of this stuff happening. Systems taken down by intrusion included wireless connections, Blackboard instruction, single sign-on websites, VPN, Jabber, Qualtrics. Oh yeah, man. If I'm paying tuition at that school, I better get some kind of reimbursement or something, or free semester or two or something. Banner document management system, Chrome River, many of which remained down while the student newspaper published its story 2 weeks ago. The report came a day after North Carolina A&T appeared on a darknet website that Alpha V uses to name and shame victims in an attempt to persuade them to pay a hefty ransom. Ransomware. Man, like I said, if only these hackers would just direct their energy and their intelligence towards something else, we would probably have the cure for cancer right about now. It's all good though. Atticus Now said grouped routers. Yep, exactly. Obfuscation. Yeah, say that word 5 times in a row. We got. Okay, so that was it. I'm just caught up on the chats there. So North Carolina A&T, they got hit hard by ransomware. So brazen code reused, an exfiltration tool previously used exclusively by Black Matter, Kaspersky said, is being used by Alpha V. So they pretty much got this tool and started reusing it. And it's like, one of these, we're going to find a breach somewhere. This is why, like I said, cybersecurity is a growing field. Anyway, let's get started for the lab here, man. So this is the topology, again, we're going to be working with today. We're going to be putting DSW1 and DSW2 in an Hsrp group, right? They're going to be sharing a VIP, which stands for what? Not virtual or very important person, right? A virtual IP address. They're going to be sharing one. They also have physical IPs on here. So that's going to have an IP address. That's going to have an IP address. I believe these switch ports are routed as well. I don't know, but there's definitely some SVIs on here, on this guy and the other guy. But anyways, let's get started. So task number 1 was, y'all know I haven't heard from that winner. Y'all know I gave away a copy of this application. I have yet to hear from him or her. I can't remember the dude's name. Prentice or something like that. So I might run another contest, another giveaway rather, and just give away this application so you guys can do it along with me, because I haven't heard from him. This is what happens when you don't, pay attention to the network, bro, I guess, right? Watch this channel or subscribe. Configure Hsrp for VLAN 100. Use plain text authentication. DSW1 should be the active router for VLAN 100 on your company's network. DSW2 should be the standby. So we're going to make this guy right here the active router. Bloop. And this guy's going to be the standby router. Y'all remember what we said about those, right? We said we're going to have in Hsrp, we have an active router, a standby router. Everybody else is going to be listening in to wait for the active or the standby to go down. That's all. So let's say we have 4 routers in the Hsrp group. We're going to have 2 in listening, 1 active, and 1 standby. That makes sense, right? In this task, you will configure the boot, blah, 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 and I'll tell y'all what we're going to do. 1, allow time for the network to converge, which I've done since I've been talking y'all ear off. On DSW1, display spanning tree information for VLAN 100. So let's do that. DSW1 for VLAN 100. We'll go enable mode, show spanning tree, VLAN 100. What do they want to know here? They want to know, should this STP configuration be modified before you implement Hsrp on DSW1? Why or why not? Now this, I don't know why. But we do have, I don't think we should, because VLAN 100, that means we are the root bridge. Well, that doesn't mean we are the root bridge, but we are the root bridge for VLAN 100, which is fine. We're sending all of our traffic here, and we're forwarding on all ports. So we're forwarding on port 2, 3, and 4, right? So we're forwarding on all our ports. So we are, why or why not? Should we change it? I don't know. I really don't know. Let's see. Did they ask us to look at DSW2? No, they didn't. But let's check it out anyway. Enable, show, span, VLAN 100. He is not the root bridge, but he knows who the root bridge is. We already know he's the root bridge for 100. So I remember I was just watching a video on CDPC Nuggets. The guy named Jeff Kish. When I was watching stuff on Hsrp, he said you want to make sure you have your spanning tree root bridge to be the same thing as the active router. So the Hsrp active router, the spanning tree root bridge, and I believe if you have a VPC, what is it, core or root, whatever, you want all your traffic basically going that way. So in this case, in this topology, since he is the root bridge, right, and he is the root bridge, and he wears the crown here, right? You drop this king. He is the root bridge. He is also the active router, and he is also, so he's a spanning tree root bridge, and he's also, what else is he? The primary. He's also probably the gateway too. If we check these guys out and see what their gateway is pointing to, let's just see for now. Let me just see. Let me see. PC1 IP config. His gateway is 10.10.100.1. What does he say? Let's show IP interface brief real quick. I'll run through this real quick. 10.100.1. See, so he's also a default gateway for some routers. So, but that's not one of the requirements or anything like that. On DSW1, on DSW1's VLAN 1 interface, there's only 2 tasks, but there's like 20 subtasks between them. So I think there's 20 in the first one, and then like about 10 on the second task. But we should get this done within an hour. So configure a priority on DSW1's VLAN 1 interface. Configure a priority of 100 for the Hsrp group 100. So we need to create a group, and y'all remember the syntax for that? If not, here's the cheat sheet. Shout out to packetlife.net. It is standby. No, that's not it. There it is right there. This is the syntax they wanted to do. So standby, the 1 is the group. That indicates the group. IP, and then the IP address. So they said, with a priority, and then this is the syntax of the priority. Standby, the group number, priority, and then the priority number. So they say group 100, priority 120. So we go to global config mode, standby. So we got to go to the interface first. What am I thinking? Interface VLAN 100, standby 100, IP. No, they didn't say nothing about the IP. What am I thinking? The group number is 100. The priority, they just said for interface VLAN 100 interface. So don't change the IP address. Don't do anything with the IP address just yet. Just configure a priority and a group number. So in this case, standby 100, priority 120, 120. That's all they said. They didn't say nothing about no IP address. Not yet, at least. Not yet. How are the priority values used? Well, so there you go. How are the priority values used when Hsrp router election takes place? Remember what we said about priorities, right? The priority is going to be standby. That's the syntax to set it. It's going to be a number between. I guess it ain't got it on this cheat sheet. Remember, this is a cheat sheet, so just a quick little rundown on how this shit works, right? So, but anyways, the priority is a number between 0 to 255, right? By default, when you just don't set it, it's going to be 100. The higher the priority, the more likely you are to become an Hsrp active router. What he said, Fuchs nigga said, bro, your old CCNP playlist is helping me through Encore right now. Thanks for time, put it together, give it to me. Kobe Ila in the building, appreciate you for tuning in. Man, listen, I know they're old videos. I did it like since 2019, but they are, I'll go back and watch them. I'm like, damn, this shit is gold. Somebody commented in one of them a long time ago, was like, yo, this is a gold mine. I'm going to watch this whole series. And that playlist is like 100 videos long. So, yeah, I'm glad that video helped you out. A lot of this stuff is still relevant to this day. I mean, we're talking about protocols that are like 20 to 30 years old. OSPF came out, what, 1989 or some shit like that. So, to this day, that stuff is still gold. So, I'm glad that's helping you out, Fuchsnik. What was the next task? He said, let me close this window here. Oops. So yeah, I was explaining to you guys the priority values and how the router election take place. Whoever has the higher priority, they are most likely to become the active router. Most likely 0 to 255, right? By default, it's 100. On DSW1, configure Hsrp Group 100 to track the FA01 interface. Remember what I said about tracking, right? We're paying attention to something that either goes down or up or whatever, and that's what tracking is. So in this case, they said to track FA01, which is bloop, this interface right here. Said to track that interface. Keep an eye on it. Why? Because we already determined that that's his gateway. He's sending his traffic that way. So if this shit right here go down, when we're tracking it, we're going to set an action and say, hey, do this. That's what the object tracking does, right? So he said, what? Configure Hsrp Group 100 to track that object. So in this case, standby 100 track, I believe it is. Yeah, track. And I ain't no shame in my game. I'm a question mark through it. FAST 0/1. Did they say to set a decrement value? They did not. Oh, I didn't read the rest of it. Ensure that DSW1's priority will be automatically reconfigured to the default priority when DSW1's FA01 interface go down. So we set the priority to 120. What is the default priority? Pop quiz. I just said it about 3 minutes ago. While you guys think about that, I'm going to think about this object tracking here. Concept. Because I got to try to remember this too. Y'all know I don't know everything, right? What is the default priority for Hsrp? You guys remember? And can you guys see that red line there? I hope you guys can't see that. What is that? Because that's not, I don't think that's supposed to be there, man. It's the webcam PNG. Y'all let me know. I hope that's not supposed to be there, man. I didn't want that there. I'm moving it. You guys can see that red line there? I hope you guys can't see that red line. Let me hide that. Johnny B got it correct. It's 100. That's the default priority. So we set the priority to be 120. If we want it to go down to the default priority, that means we want to decrement it by how many points? Oops, my bad. We just put the decrement value there. You see that right there? See where it says decrement value? So that means, for anybody that don't know, decrement means to like subtract, right? So since our priority is 120, we wanted to decrement it to what Johnny B said, 100. That means we need to decrement it by what? 20, right? I know we don't have no math majors in here, but y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all can do that, right? So decrement it by 20, and that's what we're doing here, right? I used to get confused by this. I used to think, okay, if I wanted to set to be the default value, I used to put 100 there. I used to think, okay, you got to put 100 there, right? No, you want to put how many points you're going to decrement it by. That's what we're doing here. I used to get confused by that. Yes, we can see the red line. Okay, I hope I removed it there, man. Did not mean to put that there. And nobody never said anything about in any of these streams. So it'll be automatically reconfigured to the default priority when DSW1's FA01 interface goes down. So now, when this interface right here go down, it's going to set the priority to 100 on this router for the Hsrp group. On DSW1, configure Hsrp Group 100 to automatically prompt an Hsrp router election when DSW1 has the highest priority for Group 100. Y'all know what that is, right? That's the same concept we've been talking about all week, preemption. Just because you have the highest priority don't necessarily mean you'll become the active router. That's why I said more likely, right? So preemption allows us to take over. So if somebody else has a priority of 100, right, and we come on into the group with a priority of 120, we don't necessarily take over as the active router unless we have preemption enabled, and that's what they want us to do here. How do we do that? It's also on the cheat sheet. Stand by the group number and then preempt, right? You see that? PacketLive.net. Y'all check that out, man. They got a whole bunch of cheat sheets over there. So stand by 100 preempt. So we're setting it to preempt. What else they want us to do here? On DSW1, configure authentication for group 100. Well, we came to do authentication. So now we created the group, but we didn't put all the routers in the group yet, right? So we put this guy in Hsrp Group 100. We're most likely going to put this guy in Hsrp Group 100. We got some eyes right here. I know I'll be just kind of playing around over here. And we're going to put this in group number 100, right? But before we add this other guy right here, we're going to set a password between these two. So right now we're going to put the password on this side over here first. And then watch what happens when we do that, right? That's a bad lock and key right there. How we do authentication? Let's go back to that cheat sheet. Y'all, I'm telling y'all these cheat sheets right here, man. It is standby, the group number, authentication, and if we do MD5, but they said to do plain text. So we're skipping this part right here and that part right there. Just put the password in. And he put the password of, I can't put it in. You'll see it. Because standby 100 authentication, and then if you question mark, you'll see you can put an MD5 password, plain text, or then a word or the string. So in this case, they said the password, which in this case was 80$0 November Lima 48. I can tell I've been been working in like a law enforcement and stuff, right? And doing my so that's the password. That's the authentication password, right? On DSW2's VLAN 1 interface. So now we can go to this guy, this router right here, switch rather. Configure the priority of 110 for Hsrp Group 100. So now we're doing what we were saying we came to do. Authentication, right? We're putting these guys in the same group, right? So we're putting these guys in the group 100. We're going to set him to be priority of 110. Meanwhile, this guy is 120, so obviously he's going to be the active router since he has the higher priority. But remember what we said about object tracking. We said if this guy right here goes down, that interface right there goes down, decrement his priority to the default priority, which is what? Like what Johnny B said, 100, right? Which means if he's 100 and he's 110, guess who's going to be the active router, right? So let's go to DSW2, which is this guy right here. Go to global config mode. We said standby. Oops. Standby. Oh, we got to go to the interface. I keep forgetting to do that. Interface VLAN 100. Standby 100. We said priority of 110. So he's in that. He's now in that group. He should be in that group. On DSW2, configure Hsrp Group 100 to automatically prompt router elections when DSW2 has the highest priority for Group 100. So automatically become the active router if you have the higher priority, which in this case he's 110. So that is what? Preempt. Same thing. Let me catch up with you guys real quick. Kobe 100. Kobe Illy said it. Yep, it's 100. Yes, we can see the red line. DSW2 will be. DSW2 will be what? I don't know what you were referring to. I'm a couple minutes behind. But DSW2, in this case, will most likely be the standby router, right? Because he has a lower priority, right? We said his priority is 110 and his is 120. So take note of that, right? The one with the higher priority is the active router. So I don't know what you meant by DSW2 will be. But let's continue on. Hold on for a second, y'all. Give me a second. Oh, y'all, yeah. This is a couple, y'all. Okay. On DSW2, okay, we did the Hsrp preemption. On both DSW1 and 2, configure Hsrp Group 100 to use the virtual IP address of 10.10.100.3. So now they're going to be sharing the virtual IP address, the VIP of .3 bars. .3. They're going to be sharing that IP address, right? So 10.10.100.3. So let's do standby 100 IP 10.10.100.3. Let's do the same thing on this guy right here. Standby 100 IP 10.10.100.3. I don't know if they're in the same group just yet. Oh, now they're in the same group. So they don't be coming in the same group until they share that IP address. And look at these messages we got here. Bad authentication from 10.100.100.2. Who was .2? He was .2, I believe it was, right? Why is that? Anybody know why? Because I think it's going to say on DSW1, display Hsrp information for Hsrp Group 100. which router appears to be the active router for Hsrp Group 100. So let's see. Let's do a show standby. It looks like I am the active router. So this guy is the active router. Let's do a standby brief so that way these messages stop throwing up at us. Standby brief. We are the active router. And then this guy, DSW2, is the... Come on, man. Show standby brief. He is also the active router. Interesting, right? That's interesting. Oh, probably because we didn't set authentication there. We only put the password on this side right here. We only put the password over here. So right now they're in the Hsrp Group 100, but only this guy has the password. So right here it says on DSW1 and DSW2, examine the console. Do you see any debug messages? Yes, we do. It says right there in plain English, bad authentication. That indicate a problem with Hsrp configuration. Yes, the password. On both DSW1 and DSW2, compare the Hsrp Group 100 with configuration. Based on what you have configured so far, what could be causing a problem? Well, we already know it says right there, bad authentication. But we want to see the configuration. We do a show standby, and then we'll see right here, where does it tells us the configuration for it. I don't know if they wanted just to do a show run, but we definitely set the password here. Is it on here? They don't say it on the show standby. Does it show it in the show run? Because it should have been there. I don't see the password anymore. So it's gone now. See that? The password is gone now. That's interesting. Maybe I don't know if it got erased when we did that. I don't know. But remember we put that 80 password? That's rather interesting. Kobe said, will be the active switch if DSW1 fails. That is correct. Yes, you're right. So DSW1 is the active router. DSW2 is going to be the active. DSW1 is the active router. W2 is the standby. Once one goes down, the other one is going to be active, right? We already know that. What was he going to say? Let's go ahead and put that password back in. Configure terminal. I don't know when it went away, but maybe they designed this lab to do that. Well, standby. No, we got to go to interface. VLAN 100. Standby. And we said the syntax for it is what? Standby 1 authentication. And then we put the plain text password, right? So standby, the group number, which is 100 in this case, authentication. And the password was 80. Come on, man. What we at here? 80 $sign. Jeez, man. 80 $sign. 0 November L 48. And let's go to the other side and do the same thing. Right? So now we went from speak to standby. Oh, you know what? I was looking at the wrong router. So there, that's what it was. I thought it disappeared. So now we went from speak to standby. We fixed the problem. I looked on this switch and didn't see the password. But we just now added it, so now that should stop those bad authentication messages. And notice we went from speak to standby again. We was the active router because we was in a separate Hsrp group essentially. So basically we was kind of like a split brain situation here. So basically this guy was in group 100 and he was in his own group 100 right here. That's basically what happened there. But we put the password in that one, and now they're both in group 100. And this guy back to active, and this guy's back to standby. What was the next task? Next task says correct the configuration error, which we just did on both DSW1 and DSW2. Display the Hsrp configuration. Which router is the active router, and which one's the standby? Well, we already determined he's standby, but let's just verify he is active. Yep, and it says right there, active. Oops. Sticky keys. Show. Let's do show standby brief real quick. And he's the active router, right? And we'll verify it again with show standby over here too. Show standby brief. And he is the standby router. I don't know what the hell this is right here, man. Maybe because of that group. I don't know if that's a bug or what, but we didn't see that with my hardware. There's a group 0 there, and that needs to be gone. and I haven't figured out how to get rid of it. So we figured out who's active, who's standby. Question number 15 says, on PC1, which is that guy down here, trace the route to router 1's loopback 1 interface. Is PC1 sending traffic to the active router? So basically they want us to go to PC1, which is right here. Is he sending it to, they want us to send traffic to the loopback interface on this router right here. And they want to know which way are we going. Are we going this way to get there, or are we going this way to get there? Most likely he's sending it to the active router. But we see our default gateway already right there, 100.1. So let's see. If we do a trace route, they did say do a trace route, right? Yeah, trace route to 198.51. So, oops. Trace route to 198.51.100.1. We do a trace route. And he's taking 10.100.1, which is on this switch right here, I believe, right? Let's just verify that, though. Show IP interface brief 10.100.1. Yes, so he's basically taking this way to get there. He's going this way to get to the loopback on that router, right? Y'all with me so far? On DSW1, shut down the FA01 interface. Did DSW2 become the active router for group 100? So now what they want us to do, they want us to shut down this interface right here. This interface right here, FA01. And they want us to know if this guy becomes the active router, right? Because right now he is standby and he is active, right? So let's see what happens when we shut down FA01. Go to global config mode, interface interface dialer, FA0/1, shut that bad boy down. Interface went down. We got a tracking state. What's gonna happen here? Admin down. Did DSW2 become the active router? Let's see. Let's go to DSW2. I don't see nothing happening here. Show standby brief. He is still standby. So no, he did not. On PC1, trace the route to router 1's loopback interface. Does PC1 automatically send traffic to the active router first? Why or why not? So let's see what happened. Let's go to PC1 and do that trace route again. This time he took, what the hell? He went from 1 to 2, and then he went to the router's loopback interface. So he went from 1. So he sent it to here, then he sent it to here, then he went that way. So he did send it there first. Why or why not? Well, he's going that way because we see why, right? You see what happened here? So basically, we took down this interface right here, right? Now, when we sent the first time, we sent traffic going this way to get to the loopback interface of router 1. But now he's sending his traffic to his gateway there, sees that interface is down, and takes a detour and says, "Oh," and it goes that way, like the little black boy in the meme with the soda holding it, and he's going this way, and then he makes it to the router 1's loopback interface. That's the way he takes it. And then he asks, why or why not did he go that way? Well, because we have an Hsrp group there. That's the reason why I did that. Is that the reason why? Well, he first sends it that way because, remember, we checked the default gateway. His default gateway was .1. Remember, this guy was .1, and I believe this guy was .2. So that's why. And they're in a group, so that's why it went that way. On PC1 and PC3, correct any configuration errors? Well, most likely is the default gateway, right? And we'll verify that with what? IP config. We'll see his default gateway is what? .1. We need to change that to what? .3, because that's the virtual IP interface. IP config. On these things, they're DG/DG, and then 10.10.100.100.3. We'll do the same thing on PC3. We said IP config/DG, but let's verify what it is first. His is also .1. We need to change it to .3/DG 10.10.100.3. Y'all hit me that like button, man. Make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel. And if you're not, if you want to like the inside scoop, sometimes I'll go on IG live before my streams, or sometimes I'll let you know. Like typically I don't stream on Saturdays, but my daughter's, on Friday nights, especially a Friday night. My daughter's getting her hair braided and stuff like that. So I said, I got a little free time, do a little stream, do a little live real quick. Make sure you join the Discord server if you If you was on the Discord server, you'd have known about it. So here's the Discord invite. I'm gonna put it in the chat right there. You say you still with me? All right, cool. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me tonight. But that is the Discord server. Make sure you join, and then you'll get the inside scoop of when I stream and stuff like that, or if I cancel or whatever. The next task was, we changed the default gateway on PC1 and PC3. The next task was, what he said, we fixed the configuration errors on PC1. Trace the route to router 1. Oh, so basically, they want us to trace it to router 1's loopback interface. Again, does he automatically send it? So the first time we went this way. Well, let me erase all this, right? Because this was down, right? This interface right here is down. So we went to get to the router 1's loopback interface. We went this way, and then saw it was down and went this way. Now they want us to see if it's going to take the same route, right? If since we changed the default gateway, we changed this guy's default gateway. Let's verify it's .3 now. It is .3. Let's go to PC1. Trace to that loopback. Trace route is right here. Nope. It took .2 again. Interesting. It took .2 again. Let's verify that we changed the default gateway though. 10.10 100.3. So no, it still took that way. So because the interface is down still. On DSW1, re-enable FA01's interface. So even though we changed our default gateway, he still took that way. So let's go to DSW1 and unshut this interface. No shut, snow shut, but no shut. No. Y'all ever did this right here? How many times you did that, right? No shut. Interface comes up, right? We got an object tracking. What happens to DSW2? Is he still in standby mode? Yes, he is. Let's see if we can ping and which way he's gonna go. Right? So we turned this interface right here back up. This interface right here, we turned that back up. Let's see what happens when we trace route. Right? Is that what they're gonna ask us to do? Yeah, on PC1, trace the route to the loopback. Is he sending traffic to the Hsrp router, the active router this time? Trace route to the loopback, and he sends it to .1. So this time he going this way. This time he going this way, because we turned this back up. So ignore that red X there. I just didn't erase it just yet, right? All right, so task number 2, configure Hsrp Group 100 to use Md5 authentication. So we almost done. We halfway through this, man. And he said, he rolling on the floor. We got Keep It Josh from Keep It Techie in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in. Salute, man. If you guys are into like Linux operating systems or Linux configurations or anything that does anything Linux related, y'all make sure you join Josh from Keep It Techie's YouTube channel, man. He's really into that stuff, man. I saw you posted something on, I think on, what was it, IG or Twitter on the Arch Linux installs and stuff like that. He over there laughing. Bro, we got Guy in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in. I guess they call you Guy. That's French, right? Let me know if they call you Guy. That's my brother's name, Guy. Anyway, so we did the trace route. That was fine. So now task 2, what we came to do, Md5 authentication. You've configured Hsrp authentication on group 100. However, authentication string you configure is being sent across as plain text, right? So we said we put these two guys in an Hsrp group, right? And then we set a password between the two, but we did it in plain text, which means the password, you could read it, right? If anybody has some Wireshark or some kind of protocol analyzer, and they're sniffing our traffic, they can see the password. It was 80SON, what we did, right? We're gonna change all of that and do it in MD5, which is a hashing algorithm, and then so that way people can't read it. We basically obfuscate the password, right? Say that word 5 times in a row. Obfuscate, whatever the fuck the word is, right? On both DSW1 and DSW2, remove the plain text Hsrp password from Hsrp Group 100. So let's go ahead and let's remove that password that we did, right? Because it's in plain text, and we don't deal with that. It was in interface VLAN 100. And let me show y'all something else too. I don't think this lab points out, but I do remember this from my previous studies. Do show standby, right? You look in here, even though we set, oh yeah, it did. It is in there. I thought it wasn't gonna be in there. I stand corrected. So even though we have we did put the password in, but now when you do show standby, it shows you right there. The password is 80. That's not good, right? So we want to obfuscate our password or do some sort of hashing algorithm, right, to encrypt it or whatever. So let's get rid of that. And we get rid of that with, it was this in there, right? Let me stop being lazy and actually know the password. We go back to our cheat sheet and we'll see it is this right here. That is how we set the authentication. So we got to get rid of that, right? How do we do that? With no, that negates the password, right? No standby 100 authentication. And I think that should get rid of it. We don't have to write that password up again. So we can do the same thing on DSW2, right? And now look, now the password, I mean the switch is throwing up at us again. Bad authentication. Let's get rid of that, right? Go to global config mode, and look, he went to active mode. So now we've got a split brain scenario here. This guy is inactive and this guy is inactive because they both think they're in their own like little worlds right here, and that's what's going on here. See, look, I'll show y'all real quick. I know, I'll move on. Hold on, I'm turned up today, right? So standby, and we'll see he's inactive. You see that? He's inactive, and we go to DSW1. We do show standby, and he is also active. You see it? It was up there. There it is right there. See, active. So now we've got two active routers. They are in their own 100s because we got rid of the password on one of them. So let's go back to this one and get rid of this password. Go to global config mode, right? I'll explain it again for anybody that's lost. We got rid of the password off of this guy. So now they are in their own group 100s. He's in group 100 and he's in group 100. Never mind this big circle right here. They're in their own 100s. But once we get rid of the password from this guy as well, then they'll be working together, right? Until we set another password. So interface VLAN 100, no, standby 100, authentication. That gets rid of it, and we should see it stop throwing up at us. And now he went to standby mode. See that? Guy said, thanks for noticing me. Hey, appreciate you for tuning in, though, man. Foster said, he said, Guy from SF4. SF4. Oh, you talking about, what's Guy Bishku? Is that his name? Because there's another Guy that I follow on Twitter and Instagram. What's his website called? No, he's from KBS Labs. That's another Guy. My bad. So anyways, if the VIP is .3, why did it go to .1? Why did what go to .1? I don't understand your question. Oh, because that's a good question. I like that, Foster. You be asking some good questions here. All right, so that's a really good question. Let me pull this up real quick. And for anybody that wants to understand her question too. We said this guy is .1. We said this guy is .2. But they're in the same Hsrp group, and they're sharing the virtual IP address of .3. Foster said, she said, why, if the virtual IP address is .3, which is this right here, why did it go to .1? So why did he send his traffic to the loopback going this way? Well, there's the data plane and the control plane traffic. So Guy from Street Fighter. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Guy from Street Fighter. Yeah, I love that game, man. Guy was one of my favorite. He was actually from Final Fight. If you really you really take it back to history. You know, he came from Final Fight, and then they ported him over into Street Fighter as an extra character. So you can tell how old I am, man. But anyway, so when you do a trace route, I don't think it looks at the virtual IP address. It sees that it looks at the physical interface. So it looked at the physical interface as .1, even though .3 is his gateway, and we set his gateway to be .3. So that is a good question, though. I think it has something to do with splitting the data plane traffic and the control plane traffic. I'm not sure, but that is a really good question. That is a really good question. So he like his gateway was .3. But he actually, when he did a trace route, it looked like it's going to .1. But, you know, this is a virtual IP address. So it's virtual. So, you right, bro, my man. Yeah, exactly, man. That was the old school game. Circa 1989, actually, or something like that. '87. I remember playing that like back in the days. Laundry Machine, man. Laundry Machine. It was a laundry machine store that we used to. Me and my brother used to not skip school, but like after school, we'll play that game. Oh, let me race through this. Okay. Yeah, she done with my daughter's hair already. We got to get through this, man. All right, so we got to set that password, y'all. On DSW1 and DSW2, we remove the plain text password, trace the route to router 1's loopback. Is the traffic being forwarded to router 1 on DSW1? So let's see if he's, let's do another trace route. It's going through that one. Yes, it is. On DSW1, we got to get to step 11. On DSW1, configure Hsrp Group 100 to use Md5 authentication with a key string of my80. It's a long password. I'm not going to read it to y'all. Guy said, you got it. Laundromat battles in the boroughs. Man, listen, man. I'm from Harlem, dude. There was this laundromat we used to play in 116th Street, and I used to play that game. Hardcore. And then Street Fighter, I used to play it on the Upper West Side after school and stuff. So, but, yeah, you must be from New York, man. P.S. I actually live in Florida right now, so. What was the question? Oh, we got to set Md5 authentication. So let's go to DSW1. Set Md5 authentication. We'll go to global config mode. Interface VLAN 100. I got to order pizza too, man. Standby 100. Authentication. Here's the syntax in case you guys don't know. Shout out to packetlife.net, right? It's standby, the group number, authentication, Md5, key string, and then the password that you're gonna put in, right? Again, shout out to packetlife.net for those cheat sheets. Standby 100 authentication, key string. What we said? Let me question mark that shit. Md5, key string, and then the password, which in this case is my 80 $0 November Lima 485, and then we gotta do, what is he gonna say? On PC1, trace the path. We're on step number 7. Step number 7 out of 11. So we got like 5 more to go. I gotta go get my daughter. Trace the path to router 1's loopback interface. Is the traffic being forwarded to router 1 by DSW1? So we got to do the same thing. They want us to trace the path from going from here to there. Is he going through router 1? And notice we got a bad authentication key on DSW1 now. Did we get rid of it over here? We did on DSW2. So let's do a trace route on the PC. Trace route. Come on, man. Trace route right here. He's going to .1, and then he makes it to the router. So he's still going to the active router. On DSW1, display Hsrp information for Hsrp Group 100. What do you notice about the standby router? So let's go to DSW. Oh, they said let's go to DSW1. What do we see about the standby router? Well, first of all, we're seeing this bad authentication key here. Show standby. We'll be able to read it through these debug messages. There's our key string. I think we should have. That did not obfuscate the password. Should have we put the key string keyword there? I don't think we should have done that. But it is off MD5, so let's just leave it as is. Yeah, it did say use the key string of that. Trace the path. We did trace the path on DSW1. Shut down the FA01 interface. So now they want us to shut this guy right here down. Shut this right here down. Go to global config mode. Interface FA0/1. No, they didn't say to do that yet. They said to put the password. I'm jumping all over the place, y'all. My bad. We were on step number 6 and then 7. So I was doing 7 and 8. So go over here, put the password in, so that'll stop these messages from coming across, right? Interface VLAN 100, standby 100, authentication, MD5, key string. We said it was my 80 $0 November Lima, 0 November Lima, capital L 485. That should stop the key string error. Yes, it is. Now we're from speak to standby. That's good. Trace the path. Is it being forwarded by router 1 again? So let's go here. Trace. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to your boy. I'm gonna try my best to live every day, man. I'm gonna try to stream. I know I've been slacking lately, but I'm gonna try my best. 8 o'clock. 10:10. So we're going to dot 1. So we're going this way again. We're taking router 1. I mean DSW1. On PC, no, on DSW1, shut down the FA01 interface. Now we can shut this guy down. So now we're going to shut this interface right here down, like we said we was going to do. We're on DSW1, interface FA0/1. Oops, 0/1. Shut down. We shut that interface down. We got an object tracking message. We got the ERGRP went down. There was an ERGRP neighbor relationship between these two right here. So these two had an ERGRP neighbor relationship. Well, guess what? We took that shit down. On PC1, trace the path to router 1's loopback interface. Is the traffic from PC1 being forwarded to router 1 by DSW2? So now they want to see this guy when we go to router 1. Is he going to go this way? Obviously not, because all them red X's you see over there. Or is he going to go this way? Let's see. Let's do another trace route from PC1. Come on, man. Trace. Got it in here somewhere. Trace route. And he went from dot 1 to dot 2, and then he made it to the loopback. So he went from dot 1, dot 2, then he went to the loopback. So yes, he is. On DSW1, enable the FA01 interface. So now they want us to bring this back up. Well, make up your mind, Boson. The fuck? They want us to bring this back up. Let's go back to DSW1. Bruh. Interface VLAN 1. I mean, FA01. No shut. Turned it back up. Object tracking. State down, up. Oh, we should have looked at the priorities too. We should have done that. I'll do that in a little bit. On PC1, trace the path to the loopback again. Is it being forwarded by router 1 again? So now let's go and see. Let's see which way he's going to take. Is he going to go this way, or is he going to go this way? I drove by the fork of the road and went straight. PC1. Do another trace route to dot 1, and he went to dot 1 this time. So this time he went. Once we brought this back up, he went this way. Let me turn it back down and look at the priorities real quick before we end this stream here. He said Chinatown Fair, Queens, and Fort Lauderdale for me. Oh, that's what's up, man. You not too far from me, man, bro. No, not Chinatown, but I used to buy video games in Chinatown though. I used to play Street Fighter at, I don't know the exact location, but it was I want to say, I don't even know if it was a store or what, but we used to play it in the Upper West Side. Somewhere, I went to school on 91st Street on the west side of Central Park, and there was I don't remember if it was a store. This is years ago. We're talking about the 80s, man. But we used to play this game, Street Fighter, the arcade, when it was the actual arcade, on the, there was an arcade somewhere in the Upper West Side, man. Maybe in the 70s, 70-something street. 72nd, maybe 71st, somewhere around there. But Final Fight, I used to play it at a laundromat on 116th Street, also on the west side. And now I live in Orlando, Florida, so you're not too far from me, guy. Where are we at now? Let me shut that down, and I want to see which way he's going, and then we're going to call it a night. So let me bring that down. Where is the PC1? No, DSW1. Let me shut this interface back down. Shut. And I want to look at the priorities and who's active and who's standby, etc. That's what I wanted to see. Show standby. Oops. Get rid of that. Oops. Get rid of that. Enter. And we'll see. Let's take a look at this. This is really important information here. Group 100. We are the active router, even though that interface is down. So DSW1 is still the active router. That's interesting. What's going on with DSW2? He's in standby. I thought he would have been. Let's see what his priority is though. What's his priority? His priority is set to 100. We've configured it to be 120. So because of object tracking, I would have thought this guy would have been the active router in that, if that was the case. Let's see. Show standby. He's in standby mode, and his priority is 100. Did we set preemption? Oh, that is the reason why. He did not become the active router because we didn't set preemption. So I'm glad we did our show commands. Know your show commands. Let's go to global config mode and set preemption. Did they tell us to do that on here? I don't think so. I don't remember. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Maybe I was talking too much. VLAN 100. Standby 100. Preempt. And now he's the active router. That's what I wanted to see. And DSW1 is standby. That's what I wanted to see. I'm glad we checked that. We check our work with Control G to check the lab. We've completed the lab successfully. I typically stream Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You are now watching the network. What he said? That is a legendary spot, not in Florida at the moment, New York for now. What legendary spot? You talking about the Chinatown Fair? But yeah, laundromat arcades, man. Back in the 80s, I don't think it's like that anymore nowadays, man. I haven't been in New York in, well, I haven't went to New York about a couple months ago, but yeah, it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute, but man, you throwing me back, man. Anyway, make sure you join the Discord server. I'll let you know if I cancel a stream or anything like that. Let me give you guys an invite before we kill the stream here. And we closed. Oof, congrats. Yeah, man. Living Orlando now. But anyways, here is the invite to the Discord server in case you guys want to follow along or get any inside scoop on my channel and stuff like that. Follow me on Twitter at NetworkBruh. Follow me on IG at NetworkBruh as well. And that's pretty much. And be safe. Take care of you as well. Kobe, appreciate you for tuning in. Guy, appreciate you for tuning in. Josh for Keep It Techie, if you're still here. Diane Foster, if you're still here. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Atticus Now, Fu Schnicken. Anderson Tech 79, appreciate you for tuning in. Maddox 12, Fu Schnicken. Johnny B, you got the priority.